Hi, this is Stephen Burns from Solutions in Mind, Empowerment through Coaching and Education. So in this video, I'd like to build on what I spoke about in the last video about confidence. Because if you recall, I mentioned that confidence is one of these subjective terms. It's quite a difficult thing to pin down to a single description. That when you look a bit closer, it is in fact multi-layered. And I introduced you to what I consider to be the three main components or layers of confidence. So in this video, I'd like to just explore in a little bit more depth the first layer that I mentioned in that video. And that is confidence as a feeling, a range of sensations that flow throughout your body. And I want to just share with you a model that I've been playing about with over the years, and that's something called the state loop, which is this lovely diagram, this lovely drawing that you're seeing up on the whiteboard. And I want to talk about it in relation to confidence. So when it comes to the state loop, this is just a really, I guess, simple, but I think quite profound way to think about how our emotions are created and maintained through our nervous system. So there are a couple of places that you can start for the state loop, but I would recommend you start over at label on the left-hand side there. And this is where you assign a label or you come up with some kind of emotional state that you would like to deliberately create, because we can actually deliberately create our emotional feelings. And of course, because the topic is confidence, that's the one we're going to go for in this video. So now that you have your label, we are going to go for confidence. There are two paths that you can take to start to create and then intensify the emotional feeling of confidence, whatever that sensation, that feeling means to you. The path of physiology and the path of imagination. And these two are not mutually exclusive. You can focus on one more than the other, but you can also generally combine them both at the same time. You can deliberately use your physiology and your imagination to really produce some quite profound feelings and sensations throughout our nervous system. So let's just briefly explain the two of these and then we'll gradually make our way around the loop. Also, I have recorded an audio process. You can find a link to this in the description in this video. And this will take you through how you can use this state loop to really start to produce these wonderful feelings of confidence throughout your neurology. So anyway, like I said, we have two paths, physiology and imagination. So when it comes to physiology, I am of course talking about how you use your body, how you stand, how you move, how you breathe, what you're doing with your facial expressions. And the feeling of confidence will have its own blueprint of physiology. So for you, maybe it's standing like this, or maybe it's something a bit more subtle, or maybe you're doing the hero pose. I don't know what it is, it doesn't really matter. But you want to have a think, what physiology could I take on board that would naturally start to symbolise confidence? Now this might not be a certain type of physiology that you would use in everyday life. I'm not suggesting that you walk about like this all the time or you walk about like this. That would look just absolutely bizarre. But you're only really doing this in order to alter your feelings, the sensations inside your body. And it's pretty much been proven time and time again that what we do with our body has a huge impact on the types of chemicals that get released inside the bloodstream. If you ever do something like yoga, it dramatically affects your emotional state. Why? There's lots of reasons, but predominantly it's because you're using your body in a very creative and open way. So it opens yourself up to experiencing a different range of emotions. So using your physiology is really, really important. So you want to have a think, when it comes to confidence, what physiology, what blueprint of using your body would symbolise a feeling of confidence? And feel free to exaggerate it. If you want to really stand up and just go like this, then by all means, absolutely do it. You might want to close the blinds when you do it, just in case your neighbour looks in and thinks, what's this guy up to? It's a bit bizarre. But feel free to exaggerate it because generally the larger and more dramatic you make this, then the bigger impact it has on your neurology. So then we also have the pathway of imagination. And this is basically what you're doing inside your mind. What you're doing when you visualize, when you hear sounds, how you are actively engaging in your own imagination. So you can actually do this deliberately. We all use our imagination to affect the way that we feel. Whether we like it or not, it happens automatically. If you've ever worried about something at work, maybe it's giving a presentation or a huge project that you're working on, usually you go inside your mind and play through some imagined scenarios of the whole thing going completely wrong, catastrophic, and then you start to feel panicky or stressed out because of it. It's a natural thing that we do as human beings. So what I'd like to encourage you to do is to take charge of your imagination and then use it more by design. And in particular, we're going to use it when it comes to building this sensation, this feeling of confidence. So for this, there are a couple of ways. In fact, there's many ways that you can use your imagination. I'm going to suggest that you go back inside your mind to a past pleasant memory, one that makes you feel a sense of confidence. And I know that no matter who you are, no matter how much confidence you think you don't have or you have, you will have a collection of times in your past. Maybe one or two will stand out where you were confident, even if it was just when you were walking your dog or putting on your shoes in the morning, or maybe it was a social situation when you were the life and soul of the party, or maybe a time when you were successful in some particular challenge, and you just got that sense in that point in time, wow, I feel really good about myself. I do really feel confident. It's one of those times that you're looking to find. Doesn't have to be when you save the planet. It could be something really simple, something really subtle. The most important thing is that it's meaningful to you. So ultimately, when you use your imagination in this way, when you select a past pleasant memory, one where you feel confidence, and if you go back into that memory, then you start to rekindle or revive some of the feelings associated with that memory. And then the more that you immerse yourself in it, generally the more feelings will occur, the more intense they will become. So that's the kind of thing that I'm going to encourage you to do. And when you listen to the audio program, the audio recording, you'll see that I am guiding you back into one of these past pleasant memories. So those are the two pathways. And what you're looking to do is, you're looking to then, when you're using your physiology and your imagination, you're looking to act as if this is your reality. Now what I mean by acting as if is, you're looking to role play, you're looking to pretend that this is 100% real for you right now. It's like if you ever go to acting classes, if they want to go into some kind of emotional place in order to congruently convey a certain feel or a certain atmosphere, then they will take on board the physiology. If they want to feel frightened, they'll go into a frightened physiology. If they want to feel aggressive, they'll go into an aggressive physiology. And by doing so, they'll start to feel the feelings. But they'll also try on little imaginary scenarios. They'll imagine what it would be like if something really sad was happening so that they can feel that sense of sorrow, or something else, depending on what atmosphere they're looking to create. But ultimately, they're not just using their physiology and their imagination in some kind of half-arsed way. They are fully committing to it. They're pretending it's real. They're acting as if. And this is like if you watch like young kids playing, you know, they know that the play is not real, but they're so immersed and so engaged in it that it starts to feel as if it's real. They act as if. They are masters at being able to create these imaginary scenarios, stepping into them and fully embodying them. And that's what you're looking to do when you are acting as if. And generally when we start to act as if, that's when the shifts in our neurology really start to build. And you start to experience some of the things that I've written down here under neurology. So this is different for everyone, but generally when we start to feel confident, so when we start to use our physiology in a confident way, when we imagine confident scenarios, and we really act as if they are happening right now, then we start to experience shifts, things like changes in sensations. Maybe there'll be a warmth across the chest. Perhaps there'll be a tingle throughout your arms and hands, an energy. And maybe the sensations move. Perhaps they are located in a certain area of your body, but then the more that you engage in the imagination and the physiology, the more that you act as if, they can then start to travel down to the tips of your toes, maybe back up to the top of your head. And they could also be either part body sensations, they can remain in one place, or they can end up becoming full body sensations. Often when we can get a feeling, a sensation, and make it into a full body sensation, that's often when it starts to transform into a mood and it becomes something that we experience for a lot longer rather than just being in the moment. That's ultimately where you're heading with this, by the way. But I think the key thing is the more that you deliberately use your imagination and your physiology to create these feelings of confidence, generally the brain starts to learn and it goes, oh, that's pleasant, I like that, that's useful, and it tends to move towards it. The brain, the mind, the body, they are functional devices. And there seems to be this inbuilt mechanism for being human being, I guess, where we tend to move towards easier solutions, whatever they might be. Often the reason that we get locked into problems is because we don't quite have an easier solution, or we haven't quite represented it fully enough inside our mind and body. So by really representing confidence fully and completely, it gives the brain, body and mind another choice. And if that choice is more ecological, if it's more useful, if it's easier, if it's more enjoyable to do, we tend to move towards that a little bit more. So the more that you do this, the more you're effectively training your brain, training your body, training your mind to feel these feelings of confidence more often. And then what happens is this almost like becomes self-reinforcing. Because we are feeling these changes, these shifts, these sensations, tingles, warmths, etc., then that then reinforces the label itself. It's kind of like, oh, I'm feeling this tingle, I'm feeling this warmth, then that means I am confident. So it almost like has this lovely little self-reinforcing effect that can end up just creating this lovely little upward cycle that can be really quite profound. So hopefully you found this interesting. I think the state loop is a really nice way to illustrate how we produce and how we maintain the emotions that we experience at any given point in time. Obviously, when it comes to emotional well-being, there is much more to it than just this. There's a lot more that's going on beneath the surface. But this is certainly a good start, especially when it comes to maintaining and creating the feelings of confidence at the level of physical sensations. So hopefully you found this interesting, and like I said, if you go to the description in this video, you'll see a link that will allow you to download an audio recording that will take you through the state loop for the purposes of building these really profound feelings of confidence. It's really easy to use. You just sit back, you can listen to it on your iPhone, your iPad or an Android device. But I'm sure that when you listen to it, especially if you listen to it a few times, you'll find it can be really quite profound when it comes to building these sensations and feelings of confidence. So that's all from me for just now. If you have any comments, feel free to post them in the comments section, or if you have any questions, don't forget to subscribe to keep updated with future videos, and I look forward to seeing you soon.